Alright, so as you guys know, I'm not a mechanic by any means. I'm not really anything. I'm more of a glorified weekend warrior or DIYer. I don't know what you'd call it. I just like to do weird projects, and most of them involve wood because I did do 4 years of woodworking during high school, so I enjoy doing that. But this is one of those projects that I I knew what I was getting myself into. Like you never really know, but you know it's not going to be easy. Like I didn't underestimate this project at all. Uh, I grew up loving, the 40s and the 50s. I mean, I think everybody does. It's the cars. The way things were built back then were just really revolutionary, and it was a great time. So I always wanted one of these cars, and when I found one for $500, I knew it was time. And especially with COVID going on and everything in the state that our world's in right now, I figured I'd be spending a lot of time at home, and this would keep me sane. So I picked this up as a birthday present for myself for $500. It doesn't have an engine. It's a rolling chassis. And as you can see, it's really not that bad. There's some rusted areas, which I get to later, but all in all, it was a solid frame, and it just had typical rust. But 1948 Dodge sedan. It's a two-door, as you can see, and they're more sought after, I guess you could say. They're getting hard to find now. It's a lot easier to come across a four-door and a lot cheaper. So my plan is to, first and foremost, after checking this out, this was set up as a drag car, and I don't want to take it back to original. I really don't know what I want to do with it, especially at this point when I was filming, and I had no idea. I just knew that I didn't want it to be yellow, and I knew I wanted to stop the rust from getting any worse than it was, because it's like a cancer. You gotta stop the rust, or else you're just wasting your time. There's no point in putting any money into a car that's rusting apart. So I figured I need to just kind of see what I'm working with and see where the worst areas are. And the frame and the floor and everything looked like it was redone. The frame wasn't redone, but the floor was not too long ago. And someone really was setting this up just to be on a drag strip. Like, they completely modified everything. You can see the new motor mounts there. Like, it's set up for a small block 350 engine, Chevy engine, and that's ultimately the engine that I am going with, because it's just simple and it's already ready for it. But you can see the firewall's a mess. Everything's a mess in this car. Like, it needs a lot. Look at that alignment. Like, everything is just really bad. And so I started by taking the front end off and scraping everything down. I mean, there's like 3 inches of grease in some areas and gunk, and I wanted to take advantage of there not being an engine in it, and touch up the frame, get the frame, the front of the frame restored and ready for a new engine, because I can't see putting a beautiful brand new built engine in a car that's rusted underneath. So that's that. I just did a quick, I wire wheeled all the rust, and I painted it. So that was just a quick solution, before the engine was built. And as we speak, and as I'm doing this video, the engine is being built. Obviously not in my garage full of woodworking tools and no room, but I didn't sand this down, like crazy. I sanded it, and I scuffed it. I don't show that whole process, but I scuffed it up. There's, the areas where there were rust, I wire weld them down to bare metal and then primed it and painted. But ultimately I just flat blacked it everywhere after scuffing the paint, and I decided to sand down the firewall and just do some red. I don't know why I chose that, but it is what it is. I'm glad I did, but I'll probably be redoing that firewall in the future because there needs to be a lot of welding going on and a lot of holes need to be covered, unnecessary ones. So I mean, my whole angle on this is this car is definitely not going to be a show car, obviously, and it's definitely not going to be perfect. It's just going to be a rat rod. It's just going to drive. I want it to drive. I want it to move and stop and not kill me in the process. And that's basically it. I want to drive it on Sundays. This isn't going to be an everyday driver. And if I like it, enough, I might keep it. If not, it'll probably get sold. Yeah, whoever had it before me, really painted everything yellow, just painted right over everything. So I had to strip everything down, and it was kind of, I don't want to say it was a pain. Nothing was a pain on this. It was pretty fun and easy to do because I wasn't really being that particular. The inside got the same treatment. I, sanded any rusty. So there wasn't much rust, but there was some surface rust in a couple spots that I sanded down, and then I decided to, well, you'll see in a minute. That's just with the front end. The grill was too bad to save. It was painted yellow, and I just decided to spray over it. I sanded it down and got all the loose paint off it, but moving on to the inside, this was all, I wiped it all down and cleaned it all up, and obviously sanded and primed any rust areas, but I just did the Rust-Oleum, bed liner to the whole inside of, the car. And yeah, this is not, like I said, this is not a show car. There's patches and welds and, I'm not even going to carpet this, I don't think. I'm probably going to just let it roll. I don't even think I'm going to put a hood on it because I think I'm going to go hoodless. So yeah, that's kind of finished product. Not finished, but for now, that's what it's going to look like. I might get different wheels and tires in the future, but for now, that is as far as it got.